Let's begin with a scene that most of us recognize. And that's where you look in the mirror and something in you flinches. Maybe it's your jawline that you notice. Maybe it's the quality of your skin or your height. It could be your smile that you think is crooked or something that just doesn't measure up. And maybe that thing has never measured up. And so you start thinking, what if I could fix this? What if I could Looksmaxx? What if I can get more muscular? What if I could whiten my teeth? What if I could perfect my skincare? What if I could buy better clothes? Or if I could in some way hack the angles? Or maybe even try lifting weights or tracking the macros. Not to feel good per se, but to finally feel like you're enough. And at first it feels empowering because you're doing something and you're taking control. You're turning the mirror from a threat into a project. But over time, a strange question starts to creep in. And that is, what if this is just another way to say that I'm not okay the way that I am? That's the tension that we're exploring in today's episode. Because self-improvement, it can be a beautiful thing until it starts to be driven by self-hatred. Until every change you're making is less about honoring who you are and it's more about hiding the parts that you hate and abhor. And you see, that's when Looksmaxxing stops becoming a transformation and instead starts to become more of a torment. So let's get a little bit honest about this. A lot of men, especially in incel adjacent communities, find Looksmaxxing because they're desperate for connection, and also because they're ashamed of who they are. They've tried being themselves and it didn't work. They've experienced rejection and ridicule and being invisible. So now, so now they're trying to build a new self, one that might finally be worthwhile. You see, that's not vanity. That's pain. It's not ego, it's more of an expressed longing. And we have to treat it with compassion. Because if we don't treat it with compassion, if we just mock the gym selfies or the surgery forums, we miss the pain underneath it all. We miss the boy who never felt attractive. We miss the teenager who never enjoyed a second look, the second glance. We miss the man who feels like he has to perform worthiness to even be acknowledged in the first place. Looksmaxxing, it promises a fix, but oftentimes it just repackages the same lie, and the lie is that you're not as lovable as you are. You have to upgrade before you can be chosen. And in the moments that you believe that lie, it traps you. Because even when you get the glow up, it doesn't silence the voice that's on the inside. You've changed your body perhaps, but you haven't changed the belief at the core. And that belief is really powerful. It's the kind of belief that follows you into every room and every DM and every first date. It whispers something like, if they only knew what you really looked like before, or if you ever stop trying to improve, they're gonna leave. Or if you ever relax, you're gonna be alone again. That's not confidence. That's the coercion of this lie. And coercion, it doesn't heal. It just keeps you hustling. It keeps you measuring and comparing and competing. And it keeps you from ever feeling safe enough in your own skin. And so we have to ask, what's the point of transformation if it costs you your peace? What's the value of looking good if you never actually believe it? What's What good is self-improvement if it reinforces the story that you're never enough? And that's where the illusion begins. That's where this conversation ought to start. So what happens next? Well, you start chasing a finish line that keeps moving. Because every time you hit one goal, like better skin or better hair or more muscle, the voice comes back and it says, not good enough yet. There's more to fix. There's someone better out there. And now you're not just grooming your appearance, you're actually managing your shame. And that's what makes the Looksmaxxed journey so tricky, so complicated. It can begin in empowerment and it can end in obsession. It can look like self-care, but it can be driven by self-contempt. And the scariest part is this: the culture often applauds it. Level up, don't settle. Be the best version of yourself that you can. But no one asks, what are you sacrificing to get there? What are you giving up on the journey? If every upgrade is rooted in rejection of your natural self, if every improvement is a way to silence the voice that says that you're ugly or that you're broken or you're unworthy, well then it's not self-improvement anymore, is it? Instead, it's erasing yourself, self-erasure. And that erasure doesn't happen all at once. It happens slowly. You start avoiding mirrors unless you look your best. You feel anxious when you leave the house without styling or shaping or enhancing in some way. You compare yourself constantly, not just to others, but to the after version of yourself that you still haven't quite reached yet. You don't celebrate progress, instead you punish plateaus. And all of it feels like a discipline, but really it's despair in disguise. The kind that whispers, if you stop now, no one will love you. Or if you slip even just once, it'll prove what you really are. If they see the real you, it's over. That's not improvement, that's inner warfare. And it's exhausting. So how do we step out of this cycle? Well, we begin by asking, what am I hoping to feel when I finally look the way that I want? Is it confidence that I'm pursuing? Is it a sense of peace or belonging? Those aren't things that you earn with symmetry. They're things that you grow through self-trust. And self-trust doesn't come from the mirror. Instead, it comes from how you treat yourself when you feel like you're failing. It comes from the story that you're telling yourself after a bad day. It comes from the voice that you use in your head when no one else is listening. And that voice, it learns from how you measure your own self-worth. So the real shift is not about giving up the self. It's not about giving up your commitment to self-improvement. It's more so about changing the reasons for why you're doing self-improvement in the first place. Because when self-care is rooted in dignity, it builds you. When it's rooted in self-hatred, it depletes you. So the difference isn't in the behavior, it's more so in the belief. And beliefs can be rewritten, especially the ones that say things like, I have to look a certain way to be loved. That's where we want to go next in our in our consideration. So let's shift a little bit from critique to construction. See, if the old belief says, I have to fix myself to be lovable, then what could a new belief say? It could say, I'm already worthy of care, and growth is how I want to honor that sense of worth. That's the turning point there, because when you act from worthiness, everything changes. You still go to the gym, but you don't go there anymore to punish yourself. You still take care of your skin, but not to erase yourself. You still show up, but with presence and not with performance. You stop improving to be chosen, and instead you start growing because you've chosen yourself. And that shift is massive. It doesn't just change how you look, instead it changes how you live. Because now your confidence isn't conditional anymore. It's not hanging on the next milestone or mirror check. Now it's woven into your choices, it's woven into your posture, into the way your voice sounds. You're no longer asking the world to validate your glow up. Instead, you're embodying a kind of glow that doesn't need applause or attention at all. But to get there, you have to do something quite radical. To get there, you have to stop making your healing contingent on your appearance. In essence, you have to say, even if nothing changes about how I look, I still get to treat myself with dignity. That might feel impossible at first, because everything you've been taught says the opposite. You were praised for being attractive. You were ignored when you weren't. And so you were taught that visibility equals value. But what if value is something far deeper, far more unshakable? What if it's something that's not tied to an outcome, but to your essence? That's what we mean by your sense of inner worth. It's not arrogance. It's not entitlement. Instead, it's a quiet knowing that you're a human being, and that is enough. That knowing doesn't mean you stop caring about your body. It means instead that you stop hating your body as your sense of motivation. It means that you build from love and not a lack of love. It means that you're operating from alignment and not anxiety, from truth and not trauma. And that kind of self-improvement, that kind doesn't hurt you. Instead, it creates space to hold you. It nourishes you. It becomes a form of intimacy with yourself, because that's what this conversation has always been about. Not performance, but instead your presence. Not upgrades, but a sense of understanding. Not manipulation, but a sense of meaning. And meaning doesn't come from metrics. It comes instead from how deeply you live into your values, even when no one is watching. Even when your jawline isn't sharp, or even when your skin breaks out. Even when you don't feel maxed. That's integrity there. That's what dignity looks like, and that's you without the illusion that you've been incorporating. It's one more layer to uncover next. So let's finish where the mirror we started off referencing can't reach, because the truth is, your reflection is not your resume. Your Your worth is not listed in the sharpness of your jaw or the symmetry of your features or the likes on on your latest photo that you post. Your worth actually lives far deeper. It's in, it's in how you treat the parts of yourself that especially feel unlovable. It's in what you do when no one else is watching. And it's in how you show up for others, not just when you feel confident, but especially when you feel raw. You see, that's what defines you. Not the angles, not the edits, not the upgrades, but your presence. It's your willingness to stay kind in a culture of competition. It's your courage to keep showing up when you don't feel like the most desired person in the room. That's the real glow. And here's the final truth. Self-improvement isn't wrong. It's just, it's incomplete without self-acceptance. It's beautiful to evolve. It's wonderful to refine and to express yourself physically. All these things are good. But when evolution becomes erasing yourself, when it's no longer about honoring your essence, but instead hiding it, that's when it stops being gross and it starts now becoming grief. So you deserve far better than that. You deserve a life that's instead built on wholeness and not hustling. You deserve a love that's rooted in knowing yourself and not just noticing. A body that's cared for in reverence and not out of resentment. So my invitation to you in this moment is, look in that mirror. And as you look, instead of asking, what do I need to fix? Instead try asking, what is it that I want to nurture? Or what is it that I already love about what I see? What is it about me that in this moment deserves gentleness? Because healing doesn't mean you stop improving. It instead means that you stop trying to improve out of panic. It means that you're slowing down enough to remember that you were never broken, that you were just taught to believe that you were incomplete. And now you get to write a new story, one that is rooted in dignity, one that is steeped in integrity, one that says, I will grow, but not at the expense of my soul. Because the version of you that's still becoming, that's still evolving, that person's already enough. They always have been. And the mirror, it can reflect that part too, if you let it. You see, that is the bridge back to us.